Every time a massive television series or franchise ends, it often ends in pain. Flames of pain. Everyone enjoys a good trash fire, or, in this case, a dragon fire. The finale of Game of Thrones has brought many nothing but heartbreak and chaos. But as they say,
chaos isn't a pit. Chaos is a ladder.
Game of Thrones has a very long ladder, one with about 7 steps. I will readily admit, I enjoy a good internet upheaval as a disinterested observer. There are very few that have ever matched the end of GOT in the past decade. Digital history is very much a hectic history. There's only a select few pieces of media that have ever been able to kill any goodwill towards them so swiftly and suddenly. But I do not want to lose you here. There is plenty of criticism to levy at Game of Thrones and time to dissect what went wrong, but this is not the video to do that. It is more intended to recognize the titanic failure of 2 or 3 writers and the reaction towards them, the sheer spite from fans and actors. And do not get it wrong, everyone on the production team did a fine job. Well, except for... But that's enough of that. There are plenty of digital dungeons to comb through. There's a wide enough base that's been broken. When you wait over 8 years and invest over 72 hours in something, people are going to have reactions. Sometimes those reactions end in a conflagration, or just a look of utter disgust. But it could have not been that bad, right? Surely the writers had faith in their own product. Oh. Where Game of Thrones ended, the game began. Reactions, remedies, and memes on both sides of the screen. But after all that, there comes depression. Or just winter. There's a lot of grief to give and seasons to truncate into a finale. Luckily, unlike Benioff and Weiss, the viewing public has an open schedule and a blank check. Oh wait. When there's no more episodes, watch the results. Then go post on a certain board crafted exactly for this purpose. The internet is an odd, ancestral, fire-breathing beast. Plenty of people relish the madness it creates. From Twitter to telephone, Game of Thrones fans coped with the results in their own ways, and some of these are more interesting than others. So stop all that kneeling, go beyond that digital wall, and see the once-in-a-lifetime ruin of the 7 kingdoms of grief.
Men decide where power resides, whether or not they know it.
Stage 1. Shock. When a show has run out of plot to follow, with 2 nincompoop lead writers who could not plot their way out of a paper bag, the results may be a disappointing, rushed conclusion, one that ignores all previous material and characterization, then kills off characters just to be rid of them, or just writes them off in the sloppiest possible way. Signs include an insider leaking major plot points, actors feeling they could have written their own characters better, and a documentary that looks more like a calamity rather than a celebration. When the final episode includes a line that was almost word for word, "It truly was a song of fire and ice," someone may have screwed up. No, you are not subverting expectations. No one watches a show that started as basically softcore porn for their thematic complexity, or whatever that was supposed to be. When those leaked plot points started to turn up positive, I think most people began to check out. Of course, no one will know that until they see the Twitter reaction, an awful lot of Twitter reaction. Hey, it cannot possibly be that bad. Jesus Christ. It's just a show, people. Please calm down.
He's bringing all the dead people back to life, and then
Watch this,
put the
Lise.
women and
You can
children
actually
in
pinpoint
a
the
crypt
second
with
when his
all
heart
the
rips in
dead
half.
people. So,
And now.
Tyrion is smart, but I guess not that smart.
Stage 2. Denial. When a show ends with a conclusion that is almost universally reviled, it basically negates all previous pop cultural impact, some may be led to totally reject the ending or rewrite it themselves, as to cope with the fact you messed up one of the easiest sells in history with already low expectations that was preceded by 2 lackluster seasons. This may include pointing out all your senseless plot holes, actors attempting to disarm the audience before disappointment, then actors stealing large amounts of memorabilia from the show set. Yeah, those actor reaction videos are pretty popular. Some have over 10 million views by this point. It really does make you sad. Not that one needs to feel bad for wealthy actors who made millions, but they tried their best. They also got theirs, legally or not. But there's only so much you can do with the material you're given. Sometimes you have to play with a handicap. Or, yes, the best story ever told. I sure could go for some Raisin Bran.
Why is it ending?
I don't know. Ask David and Dan when they come through.
Stage 3, Anger. When a show has the insurmountable pop cultural impact of the decade, then proceeds to stumble to a drunken conclusion, there may be a fierce backlash against the writers and their scripting, often from the very same people who consider themselves your fans. Some reactions might be turning your two-man writing team into pariahs, rage they named their child after a fictional mass murderer, this one's on them, or lionizing pretty much anyone involved in production who has similar grievances. But seriously, do not name your kids after a fictional fantasy series, especially one known for violent rape and massacre. The whole fiasco proves it is probably not worth it. But it's not like... shoot. I do not want to rain on your King's Landing, but don't do this. Instead, loot the props department for memorabilia fans will pay a small fortune for in a decade. Also, just give Kit Harington his sword. You let him pet his fictional pet, just give him the prop. It's the least HBO could do. That is the long game then. But why am I asking? We got time, so does George. I should be...
George, we're going to have to wrap this up pretty soon. Is there anything that you've always wanted to ask me? Because, George, I will.
Yes, there is something I want to ask you.
All right.
How the fuck do you write so many books so fast?
Stage 4, Bargaining. Once the fans have calmed down, somewhat, one might notice, in an effort to justify their invested time, the viewing public may adopt a forgive and forget attitude. This is often them offering to forgive all if they get what they want. Simply salvage your botched ending, and they will let it all go, free of charge and resentment. This may include starting several petitions to prove a point, unsubscribing from the network upon which your show aired, then joining a subreddit simply to shitpost on your incompetence. By this stage, though, you have probably screwed everything up, so get the hell out of Dodge before corporate cans your Star Wars writing gig. It is not like an angry mob will start a petition and drag you. Oh. Well, it is not that large a subset of fans, right? Over 1 million signers. Obviously just a loud minority. Totally not over 1 million posters have gathered in a subreddit dedicated to shitposting on your failure. One that totally did not grow from 346k subscribers on April 14th to 950k subscribers on May 19th. Totally not an uptick of growth of about 600k subscribers, no siree. It is not like this exact subset of people would give you a second chance or anything. Not that they would want to prevent your TV series from going down in history as the most disappointing finale of all time. Jon Snow just stabbed the mirror, I guess.
Oh my God.
Do not question our decisions. Just remember, the harder it peaks, the harder it crashes.
I mean, I think this story ends when it ends. And I know all the actors, as great as they are, all the actors are anxious to get on and play other roles. They don't want to spend their entire lives playing one role. And that's fine. I mean, it's great. We had such an amazing cast.
Stage 5, Depression. Yet, at the end of it all, the rage, the resentment, and the memes, there will be sadness. At this point, most fans will probably have stopped caring. They only hold out hope that the books will have the real ending, which is perhaps even more depressing than the actual ending. Do not trust men in suits, or an increasingly barren release schedule. In this period, they may exhibit desire for closure, actual depression, or more outward anger towards you. The best moment to fleece the broadest possible populace is in this moment of great disappointment. George R. R. Martin is either the world's biggest fool or the decade's greatest businessman. When the TV show's a bust, who do fans turn to? The man behind the curtain, though not the person responsible for finding all the water bottles and coffee cups. Of course, fans will have to buy the entire series before those last 2 books to catch up. The show had a different ending and cut a lot of plot threads. You do not want to be lost, do you? Mr. Martin knows the grift well enough. There is one of 3 possibilities. 1. Martin was beta testing his book conclusion. Unlikely. 2. He gave D&D his complete outline, but they did themselves in. Most likely. Or 3. The most interesting, but unlikely, Martin gave the show a bogus ending on purpose to generate money for himself. Even non-readers will buy the books to see the real ending, creating a wide profit margin for him that goes directly into his pocket with no middleman. There's a sucker born every day in this golden company. Everyone else has made millions, but I guess they cannot give an actor a prop. I guess this show really was a white elephant. Poor Kit. It hits some harder than others, but there's always a light.
But that's fine. We have 5 other shows, 5 prequels in development.
I don't want it. I never have.
Stage 6. Testing. After all the character action and assassination, the viewing public will eventually accept your failure. Not willingly, but they will. It's really about the journey, isn't it? Or maybe just about those fan service action scenes. Of course, when you literally end several plot lines with rock falls, everyone dies, there might be some lingering resentment. This may feature nearly all fan communities turning against you, actors openly taking the sides of the fans, and a resurgence of memes about your failure. Still, after about 2 weeks, people online and IRL might start having a laugh at your expense after the depression begins to abate. Or people see the silver lining. If r/free folks' spike in growth is any indicator, with over 1 million subs, it's the 195th most subscribed Reddit, and currently the 12th most active one, people are coming around. Though not to the show. Unless you were a Stannis fan, then you reached this phase a long time ago. Those people could already see it coming. Or, as already stated, maybe you're more of a Davos guy. You got to get yours from this disaster. Perhaps, like many, Conleth Hill is your guy. Game of Thrones fans' current favorite folk hero with his very open reaction to such awfulness. But after you drop off that ledge, it's nice to finally hit the ground. It does not matter, because we can still subvert expectations, just not in a way that makes any sense.
You look like a bunch of swineherds. What are you doing? Leading a mob of peasants. You want to cut my throat? Get on with it!
Stage 7. Acceptance. Your watch is ended. Go outside. Go read a different book. Or go watch a new show. Please God, go do something else. Anything else non-Game of Thrones related. It still will not stop them from pumping out 1 million spin-offs. When you put stock in an epic media franchise, it will fail you.
If you think this has a happy ending, you haven't been paying attention.
Often in hilarious ways, but it will fail you. After that, though, you can post memes about it. Signs include, I don't know, I'm not a psychologist, but I do like funny image macros. When an entire subreddit of nearly 1 million people exists simply to crack jokes about your multi-million-dollar show, you have done something painfully right and awfully wrong. Welcome to the halls of history. And by history, I mean these top posts on r/freefolk. Ah yes, you cannot beat the masters. A wizard is never late or early, nor is he ever rushed or disappointing. Let's not talk about those. Is there anything to learn from this, besides not to kneel? Pretty simple. Do not invest your entire identity in a media franchise based off a still incomplete book series. One where the television writers are afraid to resolve their own thematic arcs, and the book writer is George R. R. Martin. All the warning signs were there. Over 5,000 pages of an incomplete story squeezed into 72 hours is guaranteed to have a few failures, or one massive disappointment. You have to laugh at yourself. Not that one cannot get mad. Please do, it makes good entertainment. This wasn't. Go through the motions, or emotions, to get closure, if you really need it on a premium television series. Come to terms with yourself or a multi-million-dollar TV show. HBO cannot. Creative bankruptcy is a hell of a drug. Just don't say you never wanted it.
I don't want it. I don't want it. I never have.